Mayday! Mayday! Come in, Star Command. Send reinforcements. Star Command, do you copy? You are a sad, strange little man, and you have my pity.
That wasn't flying. That was falling with style.
To infinity and beyond.
Tuesday night's plastic corrosion awareness meeting was, I think, a big success, and we want to thank Mr. Spell for putting that on for us. Thank you, Mr. Spell.
You're welcome.
You're mocking me, aren't you?
So, who's ready for Ken's Dream Tour?
WDW Radio, your information station.
Hello, my friend, and welcome to the WDW Radio Show, your Walt Disney World information station. I am your host, Lou Mangello, and this is show number 524, and I'm here once again not only to help you have the best vacation experience when you go to the Disney parks, but I also want to bring you a little bit of Disney magic wherever you are, not just with the podcast, but with my videos, live broadcasts on Facebook every Wednesday night, my books, audio tours, special events, and more. You can find everything over at WDWRadio.com. Toy Story Land at Disney's Hollywood Studios marks the largest expansion in that park's history, introduces 2 new attractions, new dining, and a land that is fun for all ages. This week, we're going to virtually tour Toy Story Land and recap and review the attractions and the theming, the details, and numerous Easter eggs, characters, Woody's Lunchbox menu, of course, the merchandise, and more. We'll also take a look at how this is part of Walt Disney World's incredible summer and the new Play Disney Parks app, and how it not only impacts your experience in Toy Story Land, but throughout Walt Disney World and Disneyland as well. I'll have the answer to our last Walt Disney World trivia question of the week, and I'll pose a new special challenge this week for your chance to win a very special Disney prize package. It's a box of Andy's toys full of merchandise exclusive to Toy Story Land, and maybe even an item you can't find or buy anywhere. Then stay tuned to the end of the show. I'll have more information about our next WDW Radio Meet of the Month, special events, our trip to Japan, and lots more. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this week's episode of the WDW Radio Show. Ask yourself, why do I love Walt Disney World so much? Why do I keep coming back? For me, it's about feelings. Feelings of simple pleasures, nostalgia, oftentimes hunger. But at its core, it's because the feeling that Walt Disney World gives me of being a kid again, or in my case, probably never having grown up at all, and that's okay. Because, in fact, I know that I'm not alone. And I think a lot of spaces and places are designed with that sentiment in mind. And I think nowhere is that possibly more true than Disney's newest experience, Toy Story Land, at Disney's Hollywood Studios, which just opened officially on June 30th to excited guests and kids at heart, and lots of them. And I want to take you on a virtual tour of Toy Story Land, share my thoughts on it as a whole, and in the particulars, and maybe offer some tips as to how to get the most out of your experience there as well. Of course, I could not, and do not want to do this on my own. So I'd like to welcome a few friends who've experienced it as well. Of course, first and foremost, no walkthrough of Toy Story Land and all the wonderful happy children would be complete without Becky Menken from MAI on Mouse Fan Travel, who joined me on our sneak peek before the land officially opened.
Oh, it's so good to finally be back, Lou. And by the way, it's MEI Travel, just in case you need a little help with that.
So the 10 years I've been calling it Mouse Fan Travel been completely wrong?
Mouse Fan Travel works too. That's the Disney division. MEI Travel handles all other vacation needs. Just the educational piece. There's other places besides Disney, but Disney rocks.
I'm confused already.
I know.
But also, I wanted the viewpoints of not just us and guests who visited, but more importantly, a parent who can share their thoughts on going with children and maybe share the impression that their children had as well. I'd like to welcome back friend and neighbor, Lisa Donato Glassmer.
Hey guys, it's good to be back. Glad to bring the mom point of view.
So I want to sort of start off, before we get into the discussion of the land and our first impressions when we got there, I want you to sort of go back in your mind mentally to when this land was first announced. What were your thoughts when you heard about a Toy Story Land, when you started to see some of the concept art, not taking into consideration what you saw over the last couple of days?
I was really happy to see that they were going to bring in something into Hollywood Studios that was going to be primarily focused on the families, because we are all really excited, obviously, about Galaxy's Edge coming. But to have something that's going to hit that generation, the first movie came out in 95, right? So that generation is now in their early 20s. Those movies are going to speak to a generation outside of Galaxy's Edge and what's currently there. So I think it was really great to hear that something is going to be there that will attract those younger families that are coming to visit.
So I was, for the same reason as Becky, especially somebody with young children, I was really, really excited for a family-friendly experience at Hollywood Studios. I know it's probably... it's been the quietest park for quite some time, but it's also the most difficult park to visit with a range of ages. I've got two boys, they're 7 and 5, and the things that my 7-year-old can finally ride and is excited about at Hollywood Studios, my 5-year-old can't get on yet. But I'll admit that I love the Toy Story franchise, but I wasn't chomping at the bit for this park. I think I just didn't have sort of the sort of grand, beauty that came with Pandora, and that I'm sure we'll see with Galaxy's Edge. I wasn't expecting with Toy Story Land. So you'll hear later that I was pleasantly surprised. But I think that while I was excited to have a couple of attractions that we could all enjoy together as a family, the land itself didn't have me chomping at the bit quite as much as some of the new things that are coming. So I was pleasantly surprised with what I saw this week.
So when we first were made aware of the expansion, and obviously it being the largest expansion in Hollywood Studios history, and that's going back, to when the studios first opened, it was very much a quote-unquote half-day park by design, and in time it became a full-day park. Obviously, it's in a state of transition. But having been to the Hong Kong version of it, as we walked through, it was a lot of fun. It was cute, but I didn't necessarily think that it was going to be the place that was going to instantly become a destination for me. Again, we'll talk more about our feelings once we actually saw, because I think, like you guys, I was very pleasantly surprised, not just at how the land looked, but how it performed in terms of the attractions and the overall experience. Because when you do first walk through that portal, and it's an invisible portal, but you get that sensation instantaneously of being shrunk down to the size of a toy, and you very much are in Andy's backyard. It hit me in all the feels in a lot of different ways, because I think it is a celebration of what we enjoyed or remember or share with our kids. Being the age that I am, when you see things like the Rubik's Cube and the Crayola and the Lincoln Logs and the Tinker Toys and even the K'NEX pieces, it hit me in a lot of the sentimental part of the kid in me. But the word that I kept on using, like in sort of an overall 30,000-foot view, I kept on saying just how fun the place was. Not just in its design, but I think in its execution. And in a photo that I shared, my feeling was that Toy Story Land would be a place that, and I'm sort of laying the groundwork for it. I think some of the things we're going to talk about, I think a place that Walt would have approved of, because I very much get the feel that it's a place that families can have fun together. Whereas I think places like, I keep on calling it Mickey's Birthday Land, but it's not Mickey's Birthday Land. Storybook Circus is a place you take your kids for them to enjoy, and you can sit in the Dumbo waiting area, while they play, or you ride along with them. I think this is something that adults and kids would want to enjoy together.
I kept using the word playful every time I walked, when I first walked in, and like you, noticing the toys and the things that were back from my childhood, and the games, and Woody standing there greeting you. It was really cool to just have that, all the colors pop and the playfulness of it. And since you mentioned Hong Kong, I would say that anybody who's been to Hong Kong, don't think you've seen this land, because it is very much different.
Not just because of the attractions, but the other thing too that surprised me was the size of the land. From the concept art and description, it seemed much smaller until I actually walked through it.
Yeah, I mean, it's 11 acres, and granted, like an enormous portion of that, which is awesome, is Slinky Dog Dash. When you look at the overview of the land from above, it's pretty incredible just how much that one coaster takes up. But yeah, I mean, you're fully immersed from the minute you walk in. Even the plant life, as you walk in, they have these big grass fronds that sort of take you down to the cast members greet you as toys. And the plant life that's surrounding you. But we'll get into all the theming details. But it's stunning. Like it's really, from the speakers that are Tinker Toys to the dog tag standbys to the colorful trash cans. I don't think there's one aspect of the park that isn't immersed in the theming.
Yeah, and if you are of my generation, a lot of those things were toys that you played with as a kid that now you you probably have to explain to your kids what a Tinker Toy is, what a barrel of monkeys is, what cooties. Well, we all listen. You're girls, you all have cooties. I think the most brilliant bit of theming and detail is the fact that the girls' restroom is made of a cooties box.
I just loved the whole thing at the restroom. When I stood out front of the restroom and how
which is kind of weird.
I know, but everybody's taking a picture of it. I mean, come on, we all did, right? But there were so many little details just about the restroom on the outside facade of it that a lot of people commented on those pictures as well. So they did a really good job with that. And, cooties notwithstanding.
There's also a cootie that's a Baby Bell cheese. They use they're sponsoring it and they're everywhere, but they've incorporated it really well. Like there's a table at Woody's Lunchbox that's made of like stacked Baby Bell cheeses, and there's a cootie bug that instead of having the body, from the kit, they've sort of pressed the legs into the Baby Bell cheese. And the restrooms are so cute. The signs for the restrooms are cute. I mean, there's no aspect of this land. And I'll come back to this later, but if you're going to the land focused on riding 2 attractions, you'll finish and you'll leave. But if you spend the time really looking around at every detail and the popsicle stick benches and the little men that give you the height requirements and the different ways that they've incorporated theming into the tables at Woody's Lunchbox, you can really have a full experience there.
So I disagree with what the Walt Disney World website and what the map and the Parks app says about this land.
What does it say?
Because it says that there's 3 attractions, and I disagree. I think beyond Alien Swirling Saucers and Slinky Dog Dash and Toy Story Mania without the Midway, I think that the food is obviously an attraction, and I also think that the built-in almost scavenger hunt to go and find all of those little details is you could spend a good portion of your day just wandering to do that.
Right, and I remember we were standing on one side of where the lunchbox was, and I just looked up and realized that one of the lights was a straw. That type of detail, but it was so far back. It wasn't really meant to be in the forefront. It was a detail that you have to look for, which I think I appreciated about the land.
And the one next to it is a pencil. So you see,
there's a Ticonderoga pencil actually holding up the Christmas lights that are strung everywhere, which is it's just amazing. And
that's what I mean. So from a 30,000-foot view, these characters, these sets, because I would almost encourage you to go back and watch the Toy Story films, especially some of those the outdoor areas or where Andy's built, because you really get a sense that these characters and sets have left off the screen and been realized in 3 dimensions, much akin to the way that I think Cars Land was. You're like, holy smokes, I stepped into the movie. You get that sense here from a grander view. You look and see how the attraction facades were built out of the boxes of the toys that Andy was playing with. But I think that the devil's not in the detail. The joy is in the details. And I found myself spending more time wandering to see what I could find some things that you hoped would be there, some things you didn't know that you would be there. So were there any other details that you found as you were walking through that put a smile on your face, were a big surprise for you?
I loved the Green Army men everywhere because they are actually on the lookout for Andy. So he can let us know if Andy's coming, and then we can all hide. So there are Green Army men not only walking through the land, but also in strategic places throughout the land, which I found was really cool. It's almost like finding hidden Mickeys. You were finding hidden Green men. I like that.
So there were two for us that stuck out in going through with my kids. The first was when you're going through Slinky Dog Dash, when you first start going through the queue, there's the actual instructions for the kit that he used to build, because the idea is that he built the coaster with his little kit, but he modified it for Slinky, which obviously wasn't a part of the kit. So when you first go in, you can see the instructions to build the coaster that he built, but then as you're going through, his modification drawings start showing up, and I loved that. And then the other thing that we loved...
Did you see that there's the... Oh, wait, I wrote it down. It's called the... it was like the shark pit. He drew... I was like, where's the shark pit in the attraction? If you look at his hand-drawn sketch of the model, there's a giant... It looks like Jaws coming out and eating the Slinky Dog.
Oh, cool.
And it's such a little boy. I feel like the Imagineers must have just had little boys playing with toys and just watched them and see what they do. Because that's my kids would draw a shark pit. They would. And then the other thing that blew my kids' mind, more than... It was the one detail that they picked up that I did not initially, was going through Alien Swirling Saucers. There is a Buzz Lightyear suit hanging in a drawing without Buzz Lightyear in it. And my kids were like, Buzz Lightyear can take off his suit? And it started this whole conversation, because you always see it as this hard part of him, but you never to see a soft suit hanging. It was cool, and I was so impressed with my kids for noticing it.
So you didn't see obviously the Underoos Buzz walking around without his suit? That's another hidden gem. So I have dare I say I have a mini top 10 list of some of my favorite details, and by top 10 I have closer to 20, which is clearly not even close to some of the ones. So I love the Cootie Girl rooms. When you go to Alien Swirling Saucers, don't abbreviate that, by the way. When you go to Alien Swirling Saucers, if you look at the fence outside, you'll see that obviously all these things are built with Andy's toys, and those are pieces of sort of K'NEX plastic. If you look in between, he built little links, and they're all OH, and if you follow the fence across, it's ooh, that the little green men would have said. Oh, look, they're both making the wow face. I want a popsicle stick bench in my backyard with the stain of the color of the popsicle on it.
And that's the new Instagram wall, right? That popsicle stick wall is so fabulous, and I love that it was just such a brilliant way to incorporate color into the land by using stained popsicle sticks on the benches and the fence. It's fantastic.
And I think color's it. Even the trash cans are made to look like they're built out of building blocks. So there is something so fun and vibrant, and you're right, playful about it. As you walk through the queues of some of the attractions, again, all of the attraction entrances are built with the boxes of the toy that he's playing with. But if you look around back, you'll see that it's made of corrugated cardboard, or you'll see, made in China, or you'll see the UPC symbol. One of the things I posted, which I was super ecstatic when I found it, and I literally said it out loud to make sure that I was doing it right. But in the standby queue of Alien Swirling Saucers is Bay 1, and then there's Bay 13, and if you say it out loud, it's A113, which is the classroom that many of the Pixar and Disney animators were at Cal Arts.
And that's on building blocks also at Swirling Saucers.
I think you mentioned the preview video is the instruction manual for the playset. The water fountains, which, by the way, are thankfully in the queue of Alien Swirling Saucers, are refueling stations. So they're built on top of batteries.
And the overhead fans are super cute. Yeah. They're the bright green, sort of toy-looking fins coming out.
Did you notice the jacks and the ball in the grass? Kids, jacks is a game that you used to play with, these little metal, spiky... Do they even still make jacks anymore?
That's even before my time. Sorry about that. I never played jacks. I'm sorry. I didn't.
You may not have played that. I'm not sure if it's not...
Hopscotch, yes. Dominoes, yes.
Dominoes, wow. Yeah, that was before my time. But I did see the stun gun at Aliens Rolling Saucers. That was super cute.
When you're walking into the first part of the queue for Aliens Swirling Saucers, the guards sort of standing there are using pizzas as shields. The little gray guys are using pizzas as shield. I think you mentioned the Baby Bell cheese over the tables, and the chairs are wedges. But if you look up inside the umbrella, you see all the nutritional information as well.
Oh, wow.
So I'm not normally a Hidden Mickey guy, but if you just right before you board Slinky Dog Dash, if you look at the drawing that you mentioned before, in the bottom, so when you rip paper out of a spiral binder, it gets all sort of that weird, so one of those weird little dog-eared things on the bottom is a Hidden Mickey. The signs that Andy made for the attractions are made in crayon, and he stuck them on there like with stickers that he pulled out of his sticker book. The little height guy is, do you know where's he from? Oh, come on. You guys had the worst try. I know what I'm getting you guys both for Christmas. Candyland, or Candyland token.
Candyland, yes. The little tokens. Green, yes.
And so, Slinky Dog Dash, if you pay close attention, which we'll get to the attraction itself, is not, if you look, it's not a game or something that he bought. He combined his Dash and Dodge Mega Coaster with his Slinky Dog to create his favorite ride, which is his own little Slinky Dog Dash, although I'm still waiting for the shark pit. I loved the books in the queue, so we never saw Mr. Pricklepants until Bonnie had him. Becky looks so confused. But he has a giant book in the queue. We see Buster, the dog's address on the back of, it's the time, but if you look on the back, you see that it's 234 Elm Street. And I didn't know this was coming until I got to the end of the attraction. But spoiler alert, I loved Wheezy when you get there, but you get Wheezy's backstory when you first get there, because you see that Wheezy is a bath toy with a warning not to get him wet. So that's why Wheezy's squeaker doesn't work anymore.
So he's like a Goonie, like a gremlin. He's like a gremlin.
but right. But it's a bath toy. And there are countless other ones that we can go. And so I sort of look at Toy Story Land as a challenge. Like, okay, I want to go in and just wander around and see what else have I missed. I'm not the Hidden Mickey guy, but I'm sure there's a gazillion Hidden Mickeys, as well as a lot of other references to things we remember as a child. I saw the dinosaur box and some of the racing car boxes and the instructions for some of the toys that I had as a kid, but no detail is left unattended. Like, literally, to use an Eisnerism, everything speaks. And it speaks to the story that you're immersed in. It speaks to our sense of nostalgia. Like, I wonder how many kids are going to go, Mom, what's Yahtzee? And, and can we, maybe, I wonder if sales, and I was talking with somebody about this, like, does Milton Bradley pay Disney to have their stuff there, or does Disney pay Milton Bradley? Because it's a win-win for everybody.
That's a really good point, honestly. But the one thing I like about all those details, and again, the nostalgia piece will draw the parents in. The parents are going to tell the stories about when they were kids. They're going to share all those experiences. But I like how all those details draw you in. No matter if you're standing out front of an attraction, or you're watching an attraction, or you're going into the bathroom, or you're near a bench, each one of those elements draws you into a story on its own. There's story elements everywhere you look.
Yeah, I love how cross-generational it is, because like we've said, the first Toy Story came out in 95, and the 3 came out in 2010. But the toys that they're using are definitely older, more nostalgic toys, and it's my kids can identify with Toy Story. My mom can identify with Toy Story. Like, I love seeing the Tinker toys, and there's actually a Big Al's toy store price tag hidden. There's Hidden Mickeys everywhere. I mean, like I said before, if you go into the land looking to ride 2 attractions and then leave, then you're going to have a quick experience. But you could spend so many hours just like exploring and seeing. And as the land opens up and the crowds disperse, you'll be able to see it that much more. We haven't even mentioned that Andy's footprints are all over the ground there, and you can't see them very well right now because they're covered in people. But no, there's just there. Like I said, I mean, I just feel like the Imagineers must have had some little boys and little girls, that they let loose with, these old toys, and just kind of watched what they did with them, because there's no other way that they could have come up with, the Ticonderoga pencil and the popsicle sticks and the speakers that are made of Tinker Toys, and
that, unless they were drawing on their own experiences when they were kids too. And I think a lot of that is playing into it, especially when you're talking about some of those games and toys that are from another generation earlier. So I just think it's fantastic, the level of detail that they put into such a small space.
So let's talk about the attractions themselves, and I'm going to go in somewhat reverse order, because I think we almost forget, that Toy Story Midway Mania has now, the entrance and queue has flipped. It's no longer on what was, and no longer is Pixar Place anymore. It's now inside of Toy Story Land. And, we forget that attraction has been there for 10 years, and it doesn't feel like it is a decade old. But what I love, and we rode the attraction and had a blast doing it as always, although it feels a lot like exercise to me. I love the new entrance and this sort of carnival-style marquee. And again, look at the box and how the top of the covered queue area, you can see the top of the box is open, and all of the Viewmaster discs and the crayon drawings and the playing cards and the board games are turned upside down, and how Andy used like pieces of chewed gum to stick certain things together. And obviously Mr. Potato Head is back. Dare I say he's smoother and better and has new jokes and commentary. And really, we went when it was a relatively empty queue, but you almost feel like I think he was like, hey, short guy with the phone, and he obviously was talking to me because I was the only guy there.
Yeah, no, I love the new theming. It's Toy Story Mania now. Apparently, I didn't know that was happening. But yeah, you got the new entrance, and it was sort of symbolic to me that I mentioned before we started that the day before, the morning that the land opened, they finally took down the Pixar Place sign that's always been in an archway over that area as you walk into Toy Story. So I love that. I love that the what's it called, the viewfinder, right, that's Peter Pan, which I love.
There's a second one in there. What's the second one? What's the second viewfinder disc?
I was just impressed with Peter Pan. What's the other one?
One thing that
Dinner at Victoria and Albert's, if you can tell me.
I have, really?
It's Tomorrowland from Disneyland.
Really? Okay, see, we learned something today. What I liked and appreciated...
Only today? This is the first time you've learned something from me?
Well, that's a whole nother show. The other thing I appreciated was that it makes more sense now when they've added the theming and the detail that they did to the new entrance inside Toy Story Land. It makes a lot more sense than before. You felt like you're going into a circus tent, and then it just didn't match to what you were seeing in the queue, and this makes a lot more sense, and the story is much more smooth to me as well.
And a little bit of an interactivity too. The Etch-a-Sketch now sort of is almost like a little mini game, and we'll talk about playing in the queue outside of Toy Story Land, but the Etch-a-Sketch has, can you guess this games, and it's got a few other things to sort of keep you occupied without having to look down at your phone.
And let's not forget about the wonderful air conditioning that you actually get inside that queue too, which I think is going to be kind of important during the summer as well, because there's not a lot of that in that land.
There's not. There's not a lot of covered spaces, so an advanced tip is stay hydrated when you go to Toy Story Land.
Yeah, I think from a rain perspective, from a summer monsoon perspective down here, and also from a heat perspective, if you're visiting, especially as a family, I would definitely forewarn you to bring your cool towels and your fans, your misting fans, and if you're planning to spend a hotter portion of the day there, or a portion of the day that might include a downpour, definitely supply yourselves and hydrate yourselves accordingly.
So let's move on from there to Alien Swirling Saucers. So do you know what the backstory is from Alien Swirling Saucers?
Tell us more.
Becky, you're going to learn two things today. Wow, for the price of none. So Alien Swirling Saucers is a play set that Andy won at Pizza Planet Restaurant. Wow. So there you go. Okay. So he wins this while he's out getting some pizza, and you can find the Pizza Planet truck hidden somewhere in, not the actual truck, but you can find the Pizza Planet truck hidden somewhere in Toy Story Land, just as you can in every Pixar film and about 30 other non-Pixar films. Becky, Toy Story was this movie back from... Okay.
I'm trying to remember where the truck may have been, because I don't remember seeing it. But I think it was outside of the media center. So,
Aliens Rolling Saucers has 2 turntables, much like you would think like a Mad Tea Party kind of thing. But before I rode the attraction, I was unsure what it was like until I sat down on it and went, this is Mater's Junkyard Jamboree, but from little green men aliens and the claw.
You actually had to sit in it to figure that out? Because seeing it and looking at it, it was Mater's.
It was, but until I wrote it, like I didn't know how much different it was going to be. And oh, by the way, quick aside, I love the background music from there. You can't sing it like Mater's Junkyard Jamboree, but I dig it.
No, I love the techno versions of all the Toy Story music is fantastic, and I'm so relieved because my poor kids, the one thing they can't ride at Disney because they're too young to ride alone. Like my 7-year-old son can ride alone at Disney, but he's not old enough to be the only person accompanying my 5-year-old. So they cannot ride teacups because mommy can't ride teacups. So when I heard that this land was coming and the details of the attractions, I was super, half of the 2 attractions mommy can't ride. But it's not a spinny teacup ride. It's sort of it's Mater, but it's, if you're not familiar with that, it's sort of a combination of a whip and a scrambler.
Yeah, it is. It's a lot like a scrambler in between the 2. And when you ride alone, FYI, it's not as fun as when you ride with somebody because you need to smash someone into the sides of the car. It just makes it much more fun.
Yeah, I highly recommend riding with a 5-year-old who's belly laughing the entire time because it's phenomenal.
Or a big fluffy guy like me, so you get a lot of that weight behind you that really... Because that thing moves.
Yes.
But I think what's important to note, and yes, this is part of the reason why I wanted you here, is because it is something that a 5-year-old can ride and belly laugh, and a 29-year-old like Becky can ride and belly laugh as well.
I don't know if there's going to be a punchline in a moment, so I'm just going to be nice. You're right.
It's how much fun do we have riding that as adults?
Yeah, absolutely. That is one of the ones that I would wait in line for a good amount of time to ride. And because I do enjoy Mater so much, I knew what this was going to be like. It has that same type of feel. You do giggle. No matter what you do, if you think that you're just going to sit there and just enjoy it, no, you will belly laugh, you will giggle as an adult. It is that much fun.
Because I was live broadcasting the preview day, and I rode with a friend of mine, rode with John Panda, and we were just hysterical, like 2 fluffy Italian guys, whipping around in there. But that's how we felt riding Mater, and that's exactly how I felt riding this.
Yeah, I was sandwiched between my kids, and they were just belly laughing, and they didn't want it to end. The music is fantastic. It's just the visuals are so great. We had so much fun, and I love. Obviously Slinky is. Well, I'll say it again, but I love that there's this land where there are rides, there are attractions now that are fun for adults, but also fun for my 5-year-old. Barnstormer's cute and it's fun, but it's 15 seconds long. I just love that this land exists, and the attractions are a big part of it.
And I don't want to dismiss the queue. We talk about queues that are interactive, and we'll talk about some things that Disney is doing beyond what we see in places like Soarin' or Space Mountain, where there's a physical interactive queue. But here, there's giant buttons and dials, and some of them are truly interactive. You interact with that environment, and things will change. Not to mention, the idea, again, is that you're sort of walking through Star Command as you sort of go out on your... But it gives you something to look for and something to do while you're in there as well, beyond just, you guys might not remember, ages ago, queues were, you saw the long queue and you dreaded it because it was just nothing but stanchions and back and forths. And now we're seeing the trend is to giving people something not just to do, but something that people want to do while they're waiting in line.
Yeah, I can't speak to this enough as a mother of small children. Now that we live here, I'm not waiting in line for, Pooh at Magic Kingdom for an hour. But as somebody who is traveling here with little kids, I can't say enough about how amazing it is to have interactive queues and things to do. And the fact that, I don't know why more theme parks haven't realized this, but the fact that Disney knows that, you need to entertain people while you're standing in queue, it makes the entire experience so much different. I mean, to be able to, stand in line at these new attractions and enjoy them, and obviously we'll talk about the new app, but they've been incorporating these things for a while. Obviously Pooh comes to mind. But the fact that they're giving us things to do while we're in line with our kids, it just changes the whole day. It really changes the whole day, especially if you're here with kids for a limited amount of time, trying to happily get through these long queues.
Well, they're working really hard in the theme park arena in general, trying to figure out how to keep people, in all honesty, it's a business, out and spending money and not being bored, standing in a line. And we've seen them go from how they're working with Dumbo in their queue system, how they're now working with this to keep you occupied, or when they were working with Haunted Mansion to create that queue system. So it seems like they're just experimenting to see what's going to work and what's going to keep people occupied but still save their space so that they can maximize their time. When they're not standing in line, what are they doing? They're probably eating or looking at merchandise or enjoying another piece of the park. So it's really good to see them not just stick with one thing and see what may work. And this is just another version of that.
Could you imagine if there was a way to buy snacks while you were in line? Like, I would literally adjust the stock price by myself. But, sometimes some of those things, and I think part of what Disney does well is they afford you opportunities to do things that are not on a... Look, the giant 14 or so foot Buzz Lightyear out front is now a photo spot. It's going to... And all those props that they're putting in the queue, that's part of what you're doing, right? You're stopping and taking pictures, your selfie in front of whether it's the gum wall, the purple wall, the cootie wall, whatever it's going to be. That's what people are doing. Is you're creating your own fun simply by virtue of the environment that you're in. But I wanted to save what I think is the surprise of the land for last. When I saw pictures and the Slinky Dog Dash coaster, I said, "Oh, this is cute. It's a fun take on Goofy's Barnstormer." And then, let me be clear. Like, I love the theming and the story and the details of, I keep on calling it Birthday Land or Starland of Storybook Circus. But again, like I said, it's, I think, a place that parents, for the most part, take their kids. Barnstormer is a very short, I think it's 32 seconds long. It's fun, but it's definitely geared more towards kids. That was sort of the misconception or preconception I came in with. Little did I know that it was going to be longer, faster, have humps and a second launch chute and all these other little fun things that, again, made me find myself to be laughing through the entire time. And it's also, Slinky Dog Dash is a first for any attraction in Walt Disney World. What is it? It's the only attraction with a double launch.
Yeah.
So when you go to... Don't roll your eyes. Listen.
I was waiting for something, really heroic.
That's a future trivia question, just so you know. And again, I sort of love, distancing yourself from the attraction itself and sort of getting into Andy's mind, how he crafted this from his own imagination by combining two different play sets into one. And for me, one of my favorite parts is that second launch, because as a kid who had Hot Wheels and stuff like that, I used to remember pulling your car back and then launching it up the orange thing. That's exactly how I felt.
Yeah.
Good.
No, it's the same exact thing. I mean, I've got little boys, and we've got all the Hot Wheels sets that you probably had as a kid, and that second launch that is what it is. And I was so pleasantly surprised. I mean, I came into thinking that we were kind of going to see a glorified Barnstormer, and it's a fun roller coaster. Like, I am a thrill junkie. I will ride anything, and I liked Slinky Dog Dash, and that's saying a lot. I go on Barnstormer to make my kids happy. I'd go on Slinky Dog Dash.
Right. Adults will ride this because they enjoy it.
Yeah, but the thing is it's not too much.
Right.
So it's not so over the top. It's very smooth. It's not jarring. Speaking as somebody who now has one of those head and back and neck injuries that I don't get to go on the fun ones anymore, I kind of hesitated when you said, "Hey, let's go on this," and I was like, I don't know if I should, but then then again, my thought process was going back to Hong Kong, where Slinky there was just going around in a circle. So I thought, well, I wonder if this is going to be more of a kid's ride or if it's going to be a little bit more extreme. And not being able to see the full track, you only see one or two dips from the main area in the land.
It's deceiving. Like, in a good way, it's deceiving how big and long it is.
Exactly. It's extremely deceiving. And when you get to that second launch, I thought it was over. I thought, okay, I'm kind of turned around here, but I don't know where we're going to disembark the ride. However, that was also the one thing that's also going to make it one of the most important things over the next year, because you get a wonderful, beautiful view of Galaxy's Edge being...
Don't look away. There's nothing to see there.
Yeah, this is not the land you're looking for. But it really was surprising, and in a good way. It wasn't overblown. I didn't feel... I know that I can go on it again without feeling I could injure myself. So I liked it.
There's a lot of things that surprised me about this attraction. Again, from the theming, and as we were sort of thinking about that sketch on the wall, you almost get the sense that Andy was planning on putting more stuff in this, but like his mom called him away to like dinner or take out the trash or something, so he didn't finish it. And even as you see like Rex and some of the other characters, the way they're perched on top of there and the Christmas lights strung across, like this is very much a work in progress. But I didn't expect it to go, and when I say high and fast, I don't mean like it's not scary at all. Like, I could imagine going on with my kids or younger kids, and like, again, to go back to that idea of Walt, like being able to ride it together and each of you having equal fun without it being too scary or too boring for one or the other.
Grandma and small kids can ride together. I think that's a really... They found an excellent balance between being a little over the top and being Barnstormer. And then you have to ride it again, because at night it seems to be a whole different experience. So I can't wait to try that.
I love the way the track is lit and the lights chase.
So if you can only ride it once, and this is asking a lot given the the wait times and the dearth of fast passes, but if you can ride it at sunset, you're going to get the best of both worlds, because there's a lot to see on the ride during the day, but to be able to appreciate the lit track and the Christmas lights and the second launch area in the evening it's an entirely different ride. So if you can only ride it once, I would, and you can possibly time it, the sunset is definitely the time to go.
And it is almost like two little mini attractions, because the first part is lots of turns and dips and swirls, and then after the second launch, it's almost like Andy's right. You're both making like the wavy face. Like Andy took advantage of the fact that it's a slinky dog with those little sort of camelback humps. Not in, again, in a scary kind of way, but I'm like I was smiling from ear to ear.
That was really fun. I was expecting and anticipating, oh no, this is going to hurt, but it was so smooth. And then when you got into the camel humps, it was fun. I kind of let go of all the inhibitions and just went, put your hands in the air, and you can put the bags at your feet. You don't have to, you don't have anything over your shoulders. You really can just experience the fun of it and get a little airtime if you hold the bar just a little bit up.
or throw your hands in the air. Wave them as if you don't care, if that's how you prefer. Again, there was no sort of fear factor to this at all.
Not a bit.
No, and I'll say the second launch, I mean, I don't know if you can tell when you're watching it, but it doesn't shoot you out like a rock and roller coaster sort of takeoff. Right. It's a very smooth acceleration. It's not, you don't fire out like you would on some of the more grown up type
or non-existent.
Yeah, it's very, very smooth. Those camel humps are fun, and I didn't actually realize this when I was on the ride. I didn't realize it until I was out watching it afterwards. But Slinky, and maybe you can tell this from the front seat, but Slinky is talking the whole time.
Oh, no.
Yeah, he's talking the whole time, which is...
because remember, we were standing there right at that point where he comes down off the hill, and he makes that woo noise, and we all started doing it over and over again. Yeah, I kind of heard a few of them, but I didn't know.
Yeah, so I don't know. We were sitting toward the back, so I don't know if you can hear it better from the front, but I would definitely recommend just standing by the ride and listening, because he's talking to you the whole time.
So I've only ridden in the front. I did the ride cam video, which will never see the light of day, because I look, no. You probably have a better chance of seeing the grease tape at this point than my... By the way, that they must have been using 6 cameras, because I look like I'm huge. But my understanding is that the ride in the back is even more fun because you really get a sense of watching the Slinky.
Yeah, we were toward the back, and you can really feel the humps and it's a really fun ride in the back. Really, really fun.
And there's that word again. Like, we keep all hitting on the word fun. We're talking about Slinky and Wheezy and all the other characters, and I think maybe that's a good transition to, the land is very much alive. There's a lot going on in the land, not necessarily things that you'll find on a Times guide. So how many times throughout the land did you see the Green Army men coming through, not just, spieling, but interacting with guests? They had a Pixar ball, they had hula hoops, like they were playing games with guests in the land itself. And you'll not just see them, but you'll see Woody and Jesse and some of the other folks walking through the lands. I think the Army men also come out and they do like a drum corps thing a few times throughout the day too, which I love. I'm a huge fan of live music and that kind of stuff, the unannounced stuff in the park that I think Disneyland does so well.
Yeah, they really do. And it was neat, again, to see the Army men come through and to look over and you would see a character here or there. But the Army men for me are it, because again, they're there for a purpose. They are looking and watching, and they're watching to make sure that Andy doesn't show up so that we don't have to, go jumping into a blade of grass. So I love their interactions. They're funny. They pick on the right people. They will pull somebody in the circle, and all of a sudden they'll just say, okay, troops, surround this character, and then they'll just walk around one poor guy that didn't even see it coming. It's a lot of entertainment that goes on just sporadically, which is neat.
Yeah, I love my Army men. I mean, they were what you always saw at the old Pixar plays that would be out and interacting with the kids. Obviously, if you don't know, I do all the Run Disney races, and that's who you're interacting with on the course, like during the big hills and the big that's who's heckling you up those and making you do burpees, and they're the ones who are interacting with you, and to see them out.
Do what?
It's a.
What is that? You're making a little.
It's something you don't want to be doing in the middle of a marathon. Okay. But they make you. No, but the Green Army men are there, and I love that they're there. But also just seeing all the old characters, but seeing Jackie and Woody and everyone roaming around is just sort of very old school Disney to me. Like, you just don't get that. I mean, you might happen upon a princess in Epcot or something off, but it's very unusual. I mean, there's just something very, sort of old Disney nostalgic about seeing characters roaming the park.
And I think that's what you're going to see. I think you're going to see the characters just pop up unannounced, right? And just find a corner, find a spot, and start, a queue will form for pictures.
And I think that's the direction that they're starting to go, frankly, because over in Disneyland, you see Loki that's doing the same thing, or Thor, and when you're over in the Galaxies area.
Calm down, ladies.
Sorry, but they are.
I'm so happy this is not a video.
They're wandering around. They're not going to a stop and getting a queue behind them, which I love that. Like you said, it's a little bit of old school. It's what Disney was at one time, and I like to see it returning, because then you get to see those spontaneous interactions occur.
And I think we're starting to see more of that. As opposed to putting character meet and greets in a box somewhere, you're letting them just be much more organic to the land. Obviously, I think Galaxy's Edge, which happens to be next door, is very much going to be, not to go off on a tangent, but the experiences are not going to be, queued up things. It's going to be interacting with your environment. I think this is a step in that direction in terms of it being sort of a very open world, to use a gamification type thing. It's a very open world type environment. But even you obviously can't visit Toy Story Land without wanting to take a little bit of Toy Story Land home with you. And to quote Spaceballs, it's about merchandising. But even there's 2 merchandise locations are themed. Do you remember what the 2 merchandise carts are themed as?
So I don't remember. It's the truck from something.
It's a dump truck.
It's a trailer.
It's a dump truck
the
and a
trailer,
camper. Right.
The camper is the one. Is it a Lego camper? I don't remember what it's. I recognized
But
it.
the little, they're not Weebles, but the little people, like the little camper people. I don't remember what brand it is.
Was it Play School?
Not Playmobil? Is it Playmobil?
Oh, it's Playmobil.
It's Playmobil. There you go. Yay, look how old I am. It's Playmobil.
Wow.
But in addition to the shirts, there's a lot of really fun stuff. And there's something, and I was talking to Stephen Miller, who I've known for years. He was really sort of forgive me his title, sort of the director of merchandising at Walt Disney World. Disney is going to a place that I have always loved, where you want to bring a piece of that attraction home with you. So you can bring sort of the Slinky Dog Dash launch chute home with you. You can bring some of the little alien swirling saucer cars with you, as well as the stuff that you can wear in terms of the different types of fun interactive headbands. There's the Slinky Dog neck collar thing that sort of blinks. I don't even.
Well, they're not really ears, but you're wearing a Slinky Dog over your head, and it really is cute. It's one of those things that I watched people who were there for the media event were going up and saying, "Can we buy these now?" And I watched them restock that one area 4 times in like an hour and a half.
But that Slinky thing that goes around your neck is like part
Slinky.
Toy. No, there's a Slinky one that goes. There's a Slinky Dog that goes. What?
I didn't see that.
I
saw the alien.
No, there's a Slinky Dog that goes around your neck, like he stretches out and goes around your neck, and he lights up and all that stuff, and he's sort of part toy, part fashion accessory.
Okay, I might need that. But no,
The line for merchandise extends right now to the Great Movie Ride, just so you know.
Yeah, I'm sure it does. But the popcorn bucket's already gone. But no, the Slinky Dog ears are super cute. The aliens light up and their eyes move. The alien ears, they're so cute. I kind of need one for my dog. And then they have the light up necklaces with the aliens. I hadn't seen the Slinky Dog one. And then they have like a pullback toy that looks just like the alien swirling saucers. I loved that.
I like the attraction vehicles that you can take and again, I'm going back probably 15 years. They used to make a series of metal attraction vehicles that you could collect. Like there was the Walt Disney World Railroad, there were Space Mountain vehicles. I may or may not have them buried in my garage somewhere. And I love that. I love being able to take a piece of the attraction home, and I think that's what they're going back to do. So Becky's trying to find a picture of the Slinky Dog necklace and can't find it. I'll find it for you. Okay. But I promise it exists. Check eBay.
I like this, the little green men that are almost like the barrel full of monkeys. That's adorable. That is really adorable.
How about the cup? The cup that you can get filled with that has the claw and the alien inside.
It's like the new Beauty and the Beast cup. Like I'm sure it'll be all over eBay soon. Yeah. So everybody knows the clear plastic cups are always coming out in different versions. There was the one that everybody was trying to get, the Beauty and the Beast one ages ago, and now it's the alien one, and the alien popcorn bucket.
Rose gold was so 1 week ago.
Millennial gold was so last.
They have T-shirts that said, "I played there." Again, you're sort of an honorary toy, and they're really trying to sell that idea in all the things that they do.
Well, I know that you mentioned this at the beginning. We just kind of glossed over it. When you first walk into the ride, or when you're going in, they're greeting you, "Welcome, toy," or "See you later, toy. Come back and play again."
Because that's what happens. That portal that you walk through, that invisible portal, shrinks you down to toy size.
Loose size. But it's not just at the entrance. They do it at the entrance of the attractions. They say, "Here, would you like this toy?" I mean, that they're treating you all the way through, not just the very beginning, not just at the attractions, but all the way through the land. You are being acknowledged as being a shrunken down toy.
And all the toys that you play with are scale. They were actually created from the models that Imagineering used to design the ride vehicles themselves. So you literally are bringing home a miniature version of the toy of the attraction.
Yeah, I mean, the interaction with the cast members is very, very consistent. Like you are fully immersed. I mean, I think we all think of next year's Galaxy's Edge as being the full immersion experience, but you're getting it here too. I mean, you're walking through the gates, and the cast members are definitely in a different place and greeting you as such. So. It's as full immersion as anything that.
And all of this is wonderful and fun, but let's be honest, we're really just delaying the inevitable, because really the star of the show, don't put your head in your hands, like the star of the show is not Alien Swirling Saucers or Slinky Dog Dash or the Cootie Restroom. It's Woody's Lunchbox.
With the grown-up drinks.
Calm down over there.
That made me so happy when I saw that.
And listen, even before we get to the menu, I love the design of it, because it's made up of all the things that Andy's mom would have put in Woody's lunchbox. There's juice boxes and animal crackers and the baby bells and the straw and all those things that Andy would have brought with him. But again, I think, and very smartly so, the creative team at Pixar and Imagineering very much play on not just what kids see in the movie, but the sentimentality of those of us who are a little bit older. So I think the menu is is rooted in nostalgia, right? Not just the way it's designed, but the way the menu items are created, sort of honoring classic dishes like tater tots and grilled cheese sandwiches and root beer floats.
What you get on the school lunch, in a way, is what I kind of saw when I was looking through the options.
And let's be honest, everything is better with cheese. I had a chance to sample a few of the items. I'll have to post the video of me and the chef. It ended well for me, if I may say so. Now, you guys didn't get a chance to sample anything, but you saw the seating area and Woody's Lunchbox and took a look at the menu?
I have not had anything yet. The line was, I was just there for the soft opening. I wasn't there, obviously, on media day. But yeah, I'm super excited for it. I love that there's mobile ordering. I can't wait for them to stop being so overwhelmed so I can mobile order everything on the menu and just sit and eat everything. But yeah, no, I know there's that barbecue brisket melt that I can't wait to eat, like the grilled cheese and tomato soup and those like Pop-Tart bacon-y things and tachos. It just feels like theme park comfort food lunchbox, and I did see all the theming inside and loved it. The one table that's got like a note from Woody's mom just like stole my heart. It says like, "You're my favorite deputy," and I love that. And the one that's made out of Baby Bell cheeses. I mean, there is no inch of this land that is not immersed in its theming, and you could spend an hour just like exploring Woody's lunchbox and the table.
Or spend 2 hours just eating everything at Woody's Lunchbox. So, for example, I just want to quickly go through the menu in detail. I'm going to talk slowly because it's so good. They have a barbecue brisket melt. That I had. It's smoked brisket, pickles, a delicious tangy barbecue sauce, but there's not one, but two kinds of cheeses. Becky, pay attention. There's cheddar and Monterey Jack cheeses on a grilled sourdough. Oh, it's buttery. And the sweetness and the tanginess. No. They also have a Monte Cristo, which is thick turkey breast, ham, raspberry marmalade, Dijon mustard, melted Swiss on a grilled custard-soaked brioche, right? A smoked turkey sandwich, a grilled 3-cheese sandwich. Not one, not two, but 3 cheeses. Provolone, cheddar, with a cheddar cream cheese spread on garlic buttered grilled artisan French bread. You're going
to move in there, aren't you? You're just going to
sink in for a second. But wait, I'm saving the best for last.
Grown-up drinks?
No.
Oh.
Tachos.
What is it? What?
You've never had a tacho?
No. What's a tacho?
It's like nachos, but with tater tots.
Tacho and tater tot.
Are you
So
kidding
potato
me?
barrels. Wait, because I had this with beef and bean chili, shredded cheese, queso, tomatoes, corn chips, more Fritos, please, with sour cream and a little sprinkle of grilled onion, which, by the way, comes in at under $9. And it's a hearty portion. Like,
how big
that's
is
a big bowl. Like, that's a Lou Mangello-sized bowl right there. You can also just get potato barrels as a side. They've got tomato basil soup, because obviously you can't have your grilled cheese without soup. They have a number of kids' meals. They have a grilled cheese and a turkey sandwiches. They do have specialty drinks. Calm down, Becky. I'll get to yours. They have a Mystic Portal Punch, which is Powerade Mountain Berry Blast with flavors of lemon, lime, and tangerine. Also, you can get the souvenir alien sipper with the claw. Ooh. An ice cream float with Barks root beer, which would be so nice on a day like any day. They also have a grown-up lemonade, Becky. Sit back, relax, and let me tell you about the grown-up lemonade. For $9.25, you can get 3 olives, cherry vodka, Odwalla all-natural lemonade, and a black cherry puree. Ooh. So it's tasty and healthy because there's fruit in it. They also have Blue Moon white ales. They also have beers and Angry Orchard hard ciders, as well as fountain beverages, etc.
Nice.
Let me just see. They also have a cold brew shaken Jamaican Joffrey's coffee. Wait. Artisan roasted coffee beans with caramel, vanilla, and smoky flavors, featuring Joffrey's coffee, cold brew coffee, $3.79.
Can't go wrong with that.
But wait, there's more. Because what I did not necessarily realize, and I haven't had a chance to try as yet, is that Woody's Lunchbox also serves breakfasts. Now we're talking. For $8.49, they have a breakfast bowl, a hearty portion, which is the only kind of portion I really like, a Lou Mangello-sized portion of potato barrels, smothered. They're not covered. They're not drizzled. They're smothered in smoked brisket country gravy, scrambled eggs, and that little sprinkling of green onions. A s'mores French toast sandwich. Every part of that sentence is awesome.
I had one of those. We were invited to a brunch where we got to celebrate all things. So these potato barrels were there, and we did try those. The French toast was really cool because they have marshmallows on top, and they're just kind of lightly seared, for lack of a better word, caramelized. And it was really good. It was surprisingly good.
They also have a smoked turkey breakfast sandwich that has smoked turkey, Swiss peppers, onions, and scrambled eggs on grilled sourdough. And I'm going to go for this. The banana split yogurt parfait. Pineapple, strawberries, and banana between layers of vanilla yogurt and honey, topped with granola, there's the healthy, and dark chocolate, the other part of the healthy, chips, $5.99.
And that was fantastic. We had that as well.
I'm so mad that you tried that. But I think one of the signature items that we have seen and heard about, and we had a chance to taste during the preview, they call them desserts. I call them appetizers, entrees. They're lunchbox tarts, which is kind of like a Pop-Tart. There's two. And on paper, I will tell you, on paper, the chocolate hazelnut lunchbox tart, which is chocolate hazelnut, Nutella, stuffed pastry, coated in maple fondant and candied bacon, sounds pretty awesome until you try the raspberry lunchbox tart. Raspberry marmalade, coated in strawberry fondant and crispy pearls. Both of those are $3.29.
$3.29.
How?
Oh, that's really good.
And those, it's like free. But we tried those. Did you try? How good was that?
The berry was so much better than the other one. I went for the other one right
stick
away.
with Lou. Well, that's first of all. What was your first mistake? Was only ordering one instead of getting both.
This is true.
You pull a Lou. You get the chocolate one first, and then you follow it up with the raspberry, and you hear the angels sing.
Yeah, exactly. The berry one was really good because it had a sweetness to it that the other one didn't, which you're expecting for a dessert. But it wasn't overly sweet, and it had the two. Yeah, the
hazelnut one didn't have a sweetness to it.
Not really. It had Nutella.
The pastry, yeah, the pastry.
I'm not a big Nutella.
The pastry almost tasted a little bit different, and I was afraid the raspberry one was going to be too sweet,
right?
Because I'm not. But I loved it more.
Guy.
I'm not
No,
thank you.
I mean, it's all relative.
Exactly. But it was really
Remember
good.
when Becky and Lisa used to come on the show? And again, for $3.29, how good was that?
For $3.29, it would be a very good value. That's for sure. Is it one per serving for that $3.29, or do they give you two? I don't know.
I believe it's one.
Okay.
I believe it's one. So, and the only thing I'm going to be curious to see, because we haven't been in there, and you were in there during the preview, but the location has a great seating area. Covered seating area, which there's not a ton of shaded areas there. They have umbrellas at the tables. All the tables have umbrellas. But the only thing I noticed is that there's only two checkout counters. So when it's super busy, I'll be curious to see the quick flow through. But they do have mobile ordering.
It's up and running, you guys. I'm looking because the last couple of days mobile ordering has been, I'm sure they've just been completely overwhelmed. But when you've tried to go into mobile ordering for Woody's Lunchbox, it has said that it's not available. It is now available. So I don't know what you guys are doing after we record, but I have a date with a brisket.
If they had mobile ordering and mobile delivery,
I'd be in. Yeah, they need an Amazon Prime, one day Prime for food at Disney.
How much would we pay for the ability to order food from any location and have it delivered to your room
for June, July, and August? Not a question. How much do you want? Here's my card.
Give me a little Satuli canteen delivered to my room.
Oh,
yeah.
a little breakfast tachos and.
So, all right, I do have a question because there are two windows for ordering, right? And you got mobile ordering as well? Because normally in many of the places I've seen mobile ordering, they also have one that's specifically for mobile ordering. So is the decorum that you just jump in front of everybody and get your stuff?
I believe the left side is the mobile ordering side. Now again, we were there for the preview, so I haven't seen it in execution as yet. And let's be fair, we're recording this on July 1st.
Yeah.
It literally opened yesterday.
First day.
Please be patient. Understand, it's a brand new land with brand new cast members. There's going to be some time, like when a restaurant opens, like when anything opens, they're going to be figuring things out in order to make the guest experience the best it can be. Please don't go there on Saturday night and complain about how long you waited, because, it's day one. It literally is day one.
And the same thing is going to hold true for anybody who wants to show up in the first week or month of it being open. It's going to take you some time to even queue up to get into the land itself. So if you're going to go at this point in time, you're going to have to wait.
Set expectations.
Your cast has been extraordinary. And the Hollywood Studios cast, please take a breath and a moment. They aren't in control of the times and the openings either. But I just, if you're there in the coming weeks, just, take a breath and take a moment and thank your cast, because the cast of Hollywood Studios has been absolutely amazing the last few days.
Pandora. Just think Pandora. It's the second version of that.
Yeah.
Oh, just wait till Galaxy's Edge opens.
Oh, yes. I think we're all...
So actually, they're queuing up on I-4 right now, for Galaxy's Edge. But so I'm going to sort of use this as a somewhat of a slight jumping off point, because we're talking about interactions between guest and cast. We're talking about interactivity in terms of us and the environment. But Disney is doing something which I think has really been a long time coming. I think has over the years, hindsight being 2020, has been laying the groundwork for, which is affording you ways to make the in-between time much more enjoyable and be part of the entertainment experience. I will say, from a personal level, it is exactly the reason why I wrote my first trivia book, was because, excuse me, as somebody who remembers being in line for hours, again, this is pre-phones, with sort of quote-unquote nothing to do, I wanted to create a game that not only could you play in your Griswold station wagon car ride down, which I did with my parents, but to do while you're in line. That's exactly what the new Play Disney Parks app is going to bring, because there's all kinds of Disney trivia. I still need to write my third book anyway. There's themed games. There's a gamification of your experience in the land and the attractions themselves. Excuse me. And a reward system. There are digital achievements that you can earn as well. And one of the things that I love about this app, in addition to it being easy and fun and playful, are when you open up the app and you select Disneyland or Walt Disney World and then your theme park of choice, there are little music icons scattered throughout. Becky, you're looking at me so quizzically.
Oh, I didn't
there are
see
music
the app, so this is cool.
It is available for iPhone and that device, your Android app. But you can pull up, and it ties in directly with Apple Music, you can pull up music playlists from attractions and films that are referenced in there. So, excuse me, I think this was such a smart collaboration with the parks team and the Imagineering team to create something that was going to, again, enhance the experiences, not just in the parks, but even give you things to do before or after you get there. So you haven't tried the app as yet. You have tried it?
Yes. Yeah, it's so much fun. So I had some extra time before this today. So I was over at Epcot and just opened it up in the Japan Pavilion and throughout Epcot. So yeah, there's in different, you open it up and you choose land or world. So obviously I chose world. And you go to the relevant park, which was Epcot for me, and it kind of gives you a map of the land with, some interactive features. There's a music note in various parts of the park, like you can touch the music note on Soarin' and hear the Soarin' music, or Test Track and hear the theme music from Test Track, and a few others like that. There's the Reindeers Are Better Than People plays if you touch it near Norway, and the Frozen Ever After ride. So that's very cool. But the coolest thing is it's interactive, and it's an augmented reality for whatever the different areas. So I love the Japan Pavilion. So I went over to the Japan Pavilion and opened it there, and it kind of takes you through like a Phineas and Ferb style storyline, which is cute for kids. And then it has you sort of answer different questions in a few areas. I was dying for them to take me into an air-conditioned Mitsukoshi, but they did not. But they take you over to like a lantern that's by the main entrance and the koi pond, and there's a wind chime that's under the awning before you go into Mitsukoshi, and you answer some questions, and then it tells you like to press the button, and things will happen in the land because you're standing there. So spoiler alert, but in Japan, the first thing is you're over by the big lantern at the main entrance, and you answer a question, and you hit the button, and the lantern makes noise for you. And then you walk over to the koi pond by Katsura, and you hit the button again, and water spurts out of the main rock, the big rock in the back of the koi pond. And then you walk under the awning at Mitsukoshi, and answer a question again and hit the button, and the wind chime actually moves and chimes for you above your head. And it was cool because there were people sort of sitting there on the bench just relaxing in the shade, and they looked up and they were like, what is happening? And I was like, that's me. It was cool, and it's not like so many people are using it that, you know, everybody's doing it at once, so it's very cool. I mean, you're going through Epcot, and the wind chime actually swung in the wind and sang because I hit the button. Like it's definitely like, and there's obviously, you know, a big part of this is that they've got interactive queue stuff. So it definitely adds an element of experience to the various parks, and I'm really, really excited to take my kids to do it.
And it does obviously tie into some of the games are specific to the attractions themselves. So as you're in Toy Story Land, you can play Andy's Board Game Blast at the Slinky Dog Coaster. You can experience the playset party, which is you help assemble the Toy Story Mania playset. Again, you can earn the achievements. You can play Disney trivia. There's lots of little fun facts available as well. And I like the fact that it's free, and you can see from the interface it's meant to be enjoyed by kids and adults as well. And I think this is very much just, again, the app is less than, you know, it's very much in its infancy. But imagine what is going to happen when places like Galaxy's Edge come online, where we know that is very much meant to be probably going to be the most immersive, the most interactive experience, forgetting what's going to happen if you're staying at the hotel. But I think that's what they want to happen, and they want you to be able to use your mobile device to be able to not be a distraction from where you are, but to enhance where you are.
Which makes me wonder, where are the charging stations going to start popping up? And the more you use your mobile device, you kind of need to be powered. But it'd be kind of neat if they start taking that in consideration, if they want us to use the devices more and more. And I think that you're right. I think that the things that they're playing with and trying with these apps and so forth are going to be important, because what they're coming up with Galaxy's Edge, it's all going to tie together. And so this might be practice rounds.
Yeah, and you do have your fuel rods. I know I do use them. I mean, I wish there were more stations for it, but I definitely use the fuel rods throughout because I don't want to sit still. My phone charges in the parks. But I like the fact that when I first heard that this was happening, I was a little concerned that it would be another sort of staring at your phone as you're walking through the park and walking into people type situation, like when Pokemon was big in the parks a while back. But it's definitely like a discrete sort of located experience. So it's to keep the kids or the family or the person occupied in the queues. Definitely, like if what I saw in Japan is the norm, it makes you notice details in the various areas that you wouldn't have before. I mean, I have spent a lot of time in the Japan Pavilion, and I hadn't sort of read some of the things that they had me read today, and noticed that wind chime that was under the awning at Mitsukoshi. Or I definitely saw it just in like the 20 minutes that I spent sort of playing with it at that pavilion. I saw things that I've never seen at the pavilion that I've probably spent more time at in Epcot than any other.
It's a fun way to find those details and to see the details that we've always been telling people all along. Relax, slow down, don't just run for a queue. See the detail that are all around you. So it's kind of interesting to see that they're tying it into the mobile device as well.
And I think I'm sorry if you said this already, but I think the fact that it's meant to be something that not kids can do while their parents do something else, it's something that the families can do together.
Yeah, it's definitely family geared, and it's and like you were just saying, I mean, I think it's just the opposite of what I worried it would be. It's not that you're staring at your phone instead of experiencing the park and like tripping over people as you walk through the crowds. It's the exact opposite. It's that it's taking you into the nooks and crannies and details that you might have missed otherwise, and making you sort of read those placards and see those little details throughout the parks, and control whether the water spurts up or the wind chime rings. So yeah, it's definitely not that you're sort of staring at your phone as you're walking through the parks and missing out on the vacation experience, but making you appreciate a lot of the little details that Disney has thrown in throughout all of these areas that you might otherwise have missed.
I think as a whole, sort of looking at this, what's going on at Disney right now from a 30,000-foot view, it's not just about Toy Story Land, which is obviously grabbing the headlines, and the new app, but I think they're giving you a lot of other reasons. The Incredible Summer is going on right now, obviously. So you guys, have you seen Incredibles 2?
I have not.
You seen Incredibles 2? You need to go see Incredibles 2. And I mean, you, not just Becky Menken, but you, listener, if you haven't. Just for the, now I want dumplings. But there is everything that's happening in Tomorrowland. The new, we obviously know that Guardians of the Galaxy attraction is coming, but there's also the new Guardians of the Galaxy Awesome Mix live concert series, which we got a taste of. Now, I know go to those all the time. Have you seen it yet?
I saw it today. Yeah, I hadn't seen it because my June was so crazy, and I went today and saw it for the first time. I had seen video of pieces of it, but I hadn't seen it in person. I posted some of the footage. It's just cheesy good fun. Like, it's a little too soon for Gamora for me, but no, it was all my favorite songs from the mix, and it's so much. It's fun. It's well done.
And I think that's what it is. Like, all these things are just meant to be fun.
Entertainment.
Yeah. There's reasons that if you haven't seen the new Up show at Animal Kingdom, the new Donald's Dino Bash, if you have little kidlets, I think it's 4 to 12. I had a chance to check out the new Pixar Play Zone over at the Contemporary Resort. I do miss my arcade. I also miss my Fiesta Fun Center where the wave used to be, but that's, again, this is Lisa's cheering for childcare. But it's childcare that I hate to, I wish that I had as a kid. Childhood care for me was like Harry Potter. They just threw you under the stairs and, gave you some, okay, maybe not. But it was. I mean, it's a really fun, and again, I don't want to keep using the word interactive, but it's like the ships. Like, your kids don't want to come out of it. It's almost like it's a gift for them as much as it is for the parents. And over at Typhoon Lagoon, they have the Disney H2O Glow Nights. And again, it even ties into Toy Story, which is Party Source Rex, Glow. They have all kinds of Glow stuff going on, and DJs and music. And so there's a lot of reasons to visit Walt and to book your trip through Mouse Fan Travel, by the way. Who can, and I'm going to make this sound like a little bit of a shameless plug, because there's a lot of stuff to navigate. Like, especially if you are a first-timer or if you haven't been in years. Like, if you haven't been to Walt Disney World in 3 to 5 years, it's a very different experience. And there's a lot of things that we, as frequent visitors or locals, almost take for granted. Try and explain to somebody who's never been here before everything from you need to know where you want to eat and potentially what you want to eat 6 months in advance, and in what ride you're going to ride when. There's a lot of things to do, but that's one of the things that you guys help navigate for people, is not just what's going on and how to get the best, the best prices on all that, but the way to make the most out of your experience.
Yeah, that's very true. And it's not just where to eat 6 months in advance, but it's also...
But that's the important part. Where to eat is really the most important part. Everything else falls into place after that.
I think some of the most disheartening conversations I hear is like when I was on the bus the other day, hearing somebody say, and I couldn't get in for any restaurants, and then I wanted to stand up and go, you need a travel planner. But, it's very helpful, though, from our perspective, to assist people in using the tools that are available to you. Because, yeah, sure, Walt Disney World hands you a toolbox. But if you don't know how to use the tools, or if you don't know what's in the box, you're not going to be able to make the best experience for yourself. Yes. You won't be able to make the best experience. We can help you with that. But one thing I do want to tell people, we're seeing this more and more and more, where before you could easily just wait a couple of months before you travel and grab a room. That's not happening anymore. There are no slow seasons here anymore. If you have your heart set on a certain resort, I would highly recommend that the moment you think you're going to go, the moment you think you have the dates in mind, please book it. Book it, book it, book it. And then if you decide not to, there's ways that we can book it for you, so it's not going to cost you anything if we just do a room only. But we can help navigate all of those possibilities. But I would say error to the side of booking it now, cancel it if you need to, because rooms are filling up fast, 6 to 8 to even a year ahead of a time right now.
And look, for a lot of people say, well, I can just do it on my own. I don't need to pay a travel agent. Like, understand that there is no cost for us as guests to do it. So they can visit you. Although you are MEI and Mousefan Travel, they can go to mousefantravel.com.
They can go to mousefantravel.com. And the thing I do want to say, thank you for bringing that up, because a lot of people do assume that our services cost additional, and they do not. As a matter of fact, we can usually find offers that you may not be aware of, and we will proactively apply those offers if they would have applied anyway. So if you book now and an offer comes out 6 months from now and we can apply it, we'll proactively do that. So you're actually price protected.
And you can use that money for tachos and the tarts and the
or more food or a
right.
dining plan or other things that are available right now. There are ways to get around where a lot of people are thinking I need to rent a car. Well, now with the parking scenario, the great example is this trip that I'm on. I didn't bring a car this time, and I've been using pretty much minivans the entire time, and I'm finding I'm actually spending less in getting around. So these are these things that...
And the fact that they drop you off right at the front of the park is not the worst thing in the world either.
Not the worst thing in the world, especially at Magic Kingdom, because it's right there where the buses let you off, which is amazing. But there are a lot of things and tips and tricks to utilize your time and your money the best at Walt Disney World or Disneyland, and we can help you with that at no additional cost.
And the minivans have car seats.
At no additional cost.
All right, so I want you to give me I want you to sort of sum up, sort of coming full circle back to Toy Story Land. We haven't gotten to spend a lot of time there, but I think we get a sense of what the experience is going to be like. Give me your thoughts, your tips, your advice, your favorite part, or even just what that land, how you sort of just feel. I started off by talking about feelings. How does that land make you feel?
For me, it's a license to be an 8-year-old. It's okay to walk in, be greeted as a toy, and it's, again, playful. I keep coming back to the word playful. The colors are playful. The attractions are playful. The toys are playful. The food is playful. All of it allows you, if you're an adult or a child or both of you experiencing it together, you can just play and have fun in all of this immersive detail, and you have to go to the cooties bathroom.
So I think as someone who tends to, lean toward, overwhelming sort of aesthetic landscapes and grandeur and all that good stuff, I went into this sort of overly focused on 2 attractions that were coming to the land. And while those 2 attractions in themselves, particularly Slinky, have wowed me more than I expected, I think the land as a whole is... so much more than I expected. I love that this exists. I feel like it's a huge nod to Walt and his vision for the parks. I love that a place exists now where I can have as much fun as my 5-year-old and we're all together the whole time. And I would, as my piece of advice, I would sort of, if you had to pick a few hours to go during full daylight, but sort of try to be there for the transition into evening. I think Toy Story Land does nighttime better than Pandora. Like 1,000 times over. The pictures of Pandora at night are gorgeous. The real Pandora at night is not this glowing thing, but Toy Story is. And to ride Slinky Dog at night is just such an incredible experience, and I think it's and to watch the sort of flames of the fireworks from behind, you kind of feel like Sid's backyard is back there. That's my piece of advice. But as someone who was not sort of chomping at the bit to get into Toy Story Land beforehand, I'm so pleasantly surprised. I'm so thrilled that this place exists, that I can have as much fun as my 5-year-old kid, and try to go for daylight into sunset if you can.
Yeah, the nighttime experience is very reminiscent of Cars Land for me. So if you really enjoy kind of seeing the lights come on and be all around you, that was amazing. But I would also say that if you're going to be here in the next few weeks and or months, pack your patience. Enjoy the detail, and take advantage of your fast passes the day they come out. Grab what you want. It's going to be a little bit of a of a packed location for a little bit of a while, so just pack your patience.
And diligent refreshing of the app the day before will pay off. I grabbed a Slinky Dog Fast Pass from me and my kids for the 30th, for opening day the day before, just by refreshing. I sat on the couch with them while they were watching a show and refreshed for 15 minutes, and it popped up. So diligent refreshing a few days before your trip, you might be able to grab something.
Refreshments. Sorry, I got distracted. To echo what you said and to echo my sentiments when I first went there, it was surprising in a wonderful way, and it was so much more fun than I thought that I would have, with friends, by yourself, with your kids. Going back to what I said about Walt, having a place that you can have fun together, as a place you take your kids to. I think part of the enjoyment of that land is not rushing from attraction to attraction like we've done for so long in so many of the other parks. It's taking your time to wander through, go exploring like you should do in World Showcase, like you will do in Galaxy's Edge, because there's so many little hidden treasures and gems to find along the way. And I think that's it. I think it just comes down to it's being a land that's fun. It does transform from night into day. I think it's beautiful at night. It'll be even more beautiful when it's not 132 degrees outside. But if this is what this simple, fun, playful land looks like now, it makes me very, very excited for what is to come next door, what is to come to, I think, some of the other parks that we heard yet. But I think this is part of what the Disney difference is. I think it's not, whoever said, it's not the Imagineers letting their kids play with these toys. It's the Imagineers themselves letting to play in their own toy box and their own sandbox. And we, as guests, get to benefit from it. So, and I, of course, get to benefit from the two of you joining me today and sharing the experience with me. So, Becky Mankin from MEI and MouseFan Travel over at mousefantravel.com. Thank you so much.
Well, thanks for having me back again. And hopefully we'll come up with an email show pretty soon, because I have a feeling that in-bin is quite large.
Or in-box, whatever you want to call it. Lisa Donato-Glassner, thank you as well.
Thank you so much. Always fun.
Tachos. If you could order one item off the menu, if you could order one breakfast or lunch, if you could order one and have it delivered to where we're sitting right now in the air conditioning, what would be the, see, now I got Becky's attention. What would be the one item you'd order?
I would get the Monte Cristo.
Really?
Yeah, I would.
Really?
And I might dip it in soup. I might.
I need to do the grilled cheese. The grilled cheese sounds good.
Have these.
And then the berry Pop-Tart. Yes. That was so good.
Well, I mean, I guess I might as well get tachos this way, because we all have to get something different so we can share it.
Yeah. Oh.
And I kind of want, you know what? I kind of want the root beer float, just because it reminds me of, like.
God, there was a root beer float.
So I'm gonna.
That's some Galliano. It's really good.
Do you guys have Stewart's root beer where you're from? What? Stewart's root beer?
WDW.
Stewart's. Yeah. No, but like Stewart's, you used like to drive up. It was like an old like drive up kind of place. No, it's Stewart's. Old guy from Jersey. Stewart's root beer. How could I possibly be hungry again?
I don't know how you could possibly be hungry. I'm hungry.
You got a friend in me.
Like 4 things on the menu.
You got a friend.
That's my secret, Cap. I'm always hungry.
You got trouble, and I got them too. There isn't anything I wouldn't do for you. We stick together, see it through, 'cause you got a friend in me. You got a friend in me.
It's time for our Walt Disney World Trivia Question of the Week, where I invite you to test your knowledge of Walt Disney World's history, or see how well you pay attention to the details, sometimes in what you see, sometimes in what you hear. If you think you know the answer, you can enter via our online form for a chance to win a Disney Prize package. Of course, before we get to this week's special Toy Story question, we're going to go back, review last week's, and select our winner. So our last trivia question was about Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, which we are all anticipating the opening of in 2019. I attended Star Wars Galactic Nights at Hollywood Studios back in May, and story editor Margaret Kerrison revealed for us the name of the village in Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, and your challenge last week was to tell me what that name was. We know that the largest settlement on the planet Batuu is going to be called the Black Spire Outpost. I dig that name, and it gives the sense that this sort of out-of-the-way outpost is somewhat ominous and is going to be home to some colorful and notorious characters and probably some good food. But I took all of the correct entries last week, and again, you were playing not just for the 102 Ways to Save Money book, all the audio tours, stickers, a pop socket, and a shirt from the WDW Radio shirt collection, which includes not just WDW Radio logo gear, but Disney, Marvel, Star Wars, and a variety of other nostalgic shirts as well. You can check out the entire shirt collection at wdwradio.com/shirts. And last week's winner, randomly selected, is Emily Leslie. So Emily, you use the online form. I have your shipping information. I will get your prize package out to you right away. If you played last week and didn't win, that's okay, because here's your next chance to enter in this week's Walt Disney World Trivia Challenge. Of course, with the opening of Toy Story Land, I have to give you a question and, more importantly, a special prize package that has to do with this land. Before we get to the prize, let me give you the question for this week, because the Toy Story Land at Disney's Hollywood Studios is not the only land in a Disney park based on the Toy Story films. So your question this week is to tell me, what other Disney parks around the world have a Toy Story Land, a land dedicated to the Toy Story films, and more importantly, what order did they open? So obviously you know that Disney's Hollywood Studios is one. What other parks around the world have a Toy Story Land, and what order did they open? Now, this week, you are not going to be playing for the books or the audio tours or the pop, none of that. Because I literally have a box of Andy's toys, and even the box itself says Andy's Toys on it. You can't buy it in Toy Story Land, but all of the merchandise inside are things you can find in Toy Story Land, including something that you can't find there and is not available anywhere at all on property. So you're going to get a Buzz Lightyear bubble blower. You're going to get the Slinky Dog Dash headband thing. You're also going to get the Slinky Dog Dash attraction vehicle with the spinning flames, a Toy Story Funko Pop, which is exclusive to the grand opening in 2018. It is known as a box lunch exclusive. I'm also going to include a Little Green Men light-up necklace, a Toy Story Land cooling towel, Disney Parks Little Green Men socks, a Alien Swirling Saucers replica toy. There's other stuff in that box too. And there's also going to be a little mystery prize in there, something very, very cool, exclusive to Toy Story Land that you cannot find or purchase anywhere. Would look pretty neat. Well, I'll just let that be a surprise. I'll post a picture of the items that you can find in your mystery box prize if you win on the website and on social. So you have until Sunday, July 8th at 11:59 p.m. to go to WDWRadio.com, click on this week's podcast, use the online entry form there. So good luck and have fun. That's going to do it for this week's show. Thank you so much for taking the time to spend and share with me on this week's show. I also invite you to please join me every Wednesday night for WDW Radio Live as I do a live video broadcast and chat, oftentimes from the home office or sometimes out in the parks. Also, be sure you turn on notifications on Facebook on the WDW Radio page. More importantly, join the community on our group. Go to wdwradio.com/community. Join the Box People group. Turn on notifications there. This way you can be part of all the conversations, all the content that's exclusive to the group, as well as the live broadcasts every week and sometimes unscheduled from the parks. I also want to thank all the new and longtime members of the WDW Radio Nation family, including Erin Van Quill, Dan Noyes, Rich O'Kane, and Heather Val. I really appreciate you not only helping to support the show, but being part of our family. If you'd like to find out how you can receive exclusive rewards every month, for example, I craft a new scavenger hunt from the parks, resorts, sometimes cruise line, Disneyland. We have a private Facebook group, personalized Magic Band covers, logo gear, there's backpacks, t-shirts. I send monthly care packages from Walt Disney World. We have a monthly live video group call and lots more, including discounts and exclusive opportunities. To find out more, visit wdwradio.com/support. Also, don't forget that while this is completely optional, it's a really great and important way for you to help the show, show your support for WDW Radio, and don't forget that a portion of the proceeds do go to our Dream Team project to benefit the Make-A-Wish Foundation of America. If you have a question you want me to answer on the show, you can email me, lou@wdwradio.com, or better yet, call the voicemail at 407-900-9391. I'd love to hear your thoughts about Toy Story Land. Call from Toy Story Land, or call with a question you'd like me to answer. Of course, you and this community that you have helped create are the most important part of the show for me. That's why I continue to do monthly meetups in Walt Disney World. The next meet of the month is tentatively scheduled for July 14th, a location to be determined. I'm going to do my best to make sure it's inside with air conditioning. Again, that's going to be Saturday, July 14th. The best way to find out exactly where and when that's going to be is to definitely pay attention to our WDW Radio page and group over on Facebook. Also, stay tuned as I have other meetups not in Walt Disney World but on the road as I speak at conferences and schools. To find out if I can help speak at your event or to your school, you can visit LouMongello.com. Also, while you're there, you can find out how I can help you turn your passion into your profession, to do that thing that you love full-time with either personal mentoring or group coaching. I do have 2 spots available for my next mastermind group that meets every Tuesday night. It's a weekly group with accountability and help and resources. I won't go into it too much. Again, to find out more, visit LouMongello.com. While you're there, you can also find out to see if you'd like to come to my Momentum Weekend Workshop in Walt Disney World in October, Saturday and Sunday, October 6th and 7th. There's an optional mastermind day as well. It's limited to just 50 people. It has sold out both years in the past. We're about 60% full right now, but it's a great, small, intimate workshop that you'll not only learn, but you'll do and prepare and network and meet and make real changes, not just to your business, but to your life. Again, to find out more, visit LouMongello.com/momentum. Thanks again to Becky Menken, not just for joining me on the show, but for her love and support through Mousefan Travel over the years. Again, to find out more and to get a free no obligation quote, visit mousefantravel.com. Then go to Celebrations Press and find out how you can subscribe to Celebrations Magazine. And as always, if you like the show, and I hope that you do, all I ask is that you please help spread the word. Let your friends know about it. Tweet out that you're listening. Share a link to this or your favorite episode on Facebook with your friends. And if you can, take just 30 seconds max to rate and review the show over on iTunes. Thanks to you, we have more than 1,500 five-star reviews. I really want you to invite your friends to our clubhouse to be part of the community. I want to thank some recent reviewers like Mike 102030450, who says, "It's a Disney chat with a seemingly old friend. Lou's podcast is a delightful way to immerse oneself in the magic every week and escape, at least for a bit, from the less than magical world around us." Mike, that's exactly what I want the show to be. The show is curated so it feels as though you're seated with an old friend, again, that I want you to feel like, discussing a thing that we both love dearly. Mike, you get me. You had me at hello. Thank you, Lou. You bring such joy to us every week. Tyler Ray says, "It's a wonderful podcast. I love listening to the podcast at work. Just don't tell your boss. I love the top 10 shows, the dining reviews, and the fantastic interviews with Disney legends and other amazing people. The content's always fresh and informative, and I never get tired of listening." Although she doesn't like when some of the live dining reviewers are talking while they're chewing. My bad. I'll make sure that doesn't happen for live dining shows in the future. Anyway, keep up the great work. Thank you so much, Taylor. Mouse Crazy 2006 says, "It's the best Disney show, period. Lou's broadcast is simply the best. Best guide, best info, best interview, best everything. Even his top 10 lists-ish are great. It's a definite must-listen." And Trampoline Dude says, "Truth. It's not often in this day that someone does a quality, top-notch job with what they do. The podcast is informative, inspiring, and done with integrity. Wow, thank you. There's nothing fake or fluffy. Trampoline, the only thing fluffy about the show is me. But thank you so much to you and everybody who's rated and reviewed the show. Again, just search for WDW Radio on iTunes or go to wdwradio.com/iTunes. It'll give you a direct link and show you exactly how to review the show there. And finally, and most importantly, thank you, thank you, thank you. I cannot say it enough or enough different ways. Thank you for your time, for your love, your support, for everything that you do to make this show and, more importantly, this community happen, and for the gift that you give me of that time. And I hope that I can return that gift and that love to you with this show, and in any way that I possibly can. Just feel free to reach out to me on Messenger or email or Twitter or whatever way that I possibly can to repay the gift that you have given to me. And remember, whatever you do, make sure you do what you love and make every minute count, because we might not have as many left as we think. I hope that this is your best week ever. Thank you so very much. I love and appreciate you. Have a great week. See ya.
Hi, Mongilla. This is Belle Harmon from Tallahassee, Florida. I was just calling because I just finished episode 521, the interview with Lee Cockrell, and that was such a great show. I really, really enjoyed it. My parents are both cast members for the Walt Disney Company, so it's always fun to hear from cast members because I get a little insight on what my parents do that's more from just them. But my favorite part of the show was at the very end when you put the Mr. Roboto at the end. I cracked up. I'm on a drive back from Nashville for the weekend, and that just gave me a smile on my face. That was so funny. And that just goes to show that your show is so much fun because you just put these things in here that you would never even expect and just make us smile. And thank you for all you do, Lou. Your podcasts are sure making my 8-hour drive a lot shorter. So thank you so much. Look forward to hearing your next one. All right, bye.
Hi, Lou. This is Eric calling from Michigan. We just got back from a trip in Walt Disney World. We stayed at Saratoga Springs, which is an awesome resort, very underrated. And I just wanted to share something real quick. We traveled there with my mom, who needs a wheelchair, and this is the first time we'd really done a trip like this with her in a wheelchair. And I just wanted to tell your listeners that Disney is outstanding in how they help people and accommodate people in wheelchairs. All the cast members were well-trained. They knew exactly what to do. They were courteous. They were cheerful, very helpful. And if any listeners are on the fence about traveling to Disney World because they're in a wheelchair or they have a loved one they're going to take who needs a wheelchair, don't hesitate, because Disney is probably the best place in the world that I've seen that is barrier-free and can accommodate just about any situation. So thank you for the podcast. I've been listening for a very long time now. You do a great job. Thank you, and we'll listen to you on the net. Thanks. Bye.
Hi, Lou. This is Dom from Villa Marie Academy in Malvern, Pennsylvania. And I wanted to just say thank you so much for being the keynote speaker at our freshman trip to Walt Disney World in early June. The students were inspired and definitely awakened to all the possibilities ahead. They learned about Walt and his struggles and his accomplishments, but especially his determination and drive. Even the chaperone said that your points hit home for them. Speaking from experience, if anyone is considering having Lou speak, do it. He really knows how to connect with students, and the blending of Disney magic keeps them interested and engaged. I've had Lou help teach my marketing class virtually from Walt Disney World. He spoke at our career day, and he opened our school year at orientation. Each time the students' imaginations were sparked, and they went away believing that they could be the next great Walt Disney. So, Lou, I look forward to working with you soon, and keep up the great work and keep inspiring the next generation. So thank you so much again, and hope to see you soon. Bye.
Hi, Lou. It's Lauren Winokur Kaplan from Hillsborough, New Jersey, and I just wanted to call and tell you what made my day yesterday. So I'd hear you, before I had kids, I'd hear you talk about how you'd raise your kids Disney, and I always knew I wanted to do the same thing. So since I saw you last, I've had a second kid, so now I have two boys, Miles and Reed. And sure, I've taken Miles to Disney twice, And we're currently going through our Pixar education. He's obsessed with cars and Finding Nemo, and yes, I threw in Frozen, and he's loving that. And we watch Disney Channel all the time. But I now know that I am doing my job because the other day he saw on his bookshelf the beautifully illustrated Haunted Mansion book that I bought 2 years ago for him at Memento Mori, and he wanted to read it. So I sang him the book, which is all the lyrics from the song, and he asked me to sing it again. Then the very next day, we're driving home from daycare, and he asked me to play the song. So I did. And then when I get home and we're changing his baby brother, he says, "Play the song again, Mommy." And I play him Grim Grinning Ghost, and he is dancing up a storm in his brother's room, and I just had a smile on my face and know that I am raising him right. So I thought you'd appreciate that. I just want to give a quick shout out to my lovely friend Lisa, who is also raising her son Nolan well, because she's taking him not only to Disney World, I'm sure in a couple of years, but she's taking him to Disneyland, and we're working on what rides that she should go to. So she's taking him to where Walt walked. Thank you for everything. Sorry I missed you when I was down last September, but I got caught in a little thing called Hurricane Irma, and I'm guessing you did too right before you left for Asia. And I hope that I can see you again when I come down to the world next year. So take care.
Hello, Lou Mangello. This is Darlene Yagi from West Seneca, New York. Hi, Fox people. Hi, Crew family, and my WDW Radio Disney Running Family team. I am so happy to be calling in from West Seneca, New York, where the summer has finally hit us, and it is going to be 84 degrees today, 95 tomorrow. I am loving it. And I wanted to say I have 91 days until my WDW trip with the Sternbergs and my husband to Walt Disney World in Florida. We will be traveling around. It's going to be an amazing adventure. And 470 days till the Japan AVD adventure with Lou and Becky. Oh my goodness. You guys are going to be in for a treat. I wish I could go on that one, but I won't be able to. So here's another one. I'm going to ask you guys who go to be able to take a lot of pictures for me. I hope you guys have a wonderful week and a wonderful, safe 4th of July. Again, this is Darlene Maggie from West Seneca, New York. Love, hugs, and stay positive. Exclamation point. I love you guys.
And this is where I live. It's Ken's dream house. It has a disco, it's got a dune buggy, and a whole room just for trying on clothes.
You have everything!
Everything except someone to share it with.